Today we're at Warton Crag, which is a nature reserve on the edge of Morecambe Bay in the Arnside and Silverdale area of outstanding natural beauty. We're here to see pearl-bordered fritillaries, which is one of the fastest declining butterfly species in the UK.
It's been the centre of pearl-bordered activity for years. A lot of sites have lost pearl-bordered, and Warton Crag seems to retain them. It might be this splendid southern-facing bank that we've got.
They're here at Warton Crag because we still have lots of managed scrubby woodland areas. Pearl-bordered fritillaries feed on violets, so they need open areas, newly cleared areas in which there's quite a lot of dead plant material.
Now I'm looking at populations of the pearl-bordered fritillary in Morecambe Bay and seeing what factors have caused their decline, particularly looking at site isolation and how fragmentation might have influenced populations and their dispersal ability.
The picture is quite sad, really. The butterfly is facing extreme pressures, and the work that the students have done has highlighted what those pressures are and how we might be able to respond to them in the future.
The pearl-bordered fritillary has declined quite markedly in the last 15 years, despite the fact that on sites like this there's a huge amount of effort going into managing the habitat. We've been working to try and understand the ecology of the species and why they're still declining.
This year I'm carrying out a Marc Release recapture to look at how the populations are functioning, how the butterflies are moving across the site.
We catch the butterflies and very carefully mark the wings with a felt tip pen, and we use a coding of dots that allows us to identify individuals then. So then we release them and we recapture them, and obviously where we recapture them tells them something about how they're moving within the landscape.
So as traditional management practices have declined, populations have been lost, and as that happens, sites become more isolated, which makes it more difficult for populations to persist because they require movement between populations in order to be stable, and site isolation is something that increases extinction risk, which is why it's important.
We're working closely with the Countryside Management Service who do the work here, the RSPB, the Lancashire Wildlife Trust. We're all managing sites on Warton Crag for the pearl, and it's really important that we know what works, what the success is for the butterfly.
We're following females, we're watching where they lay eggs, and we lay down a quadrat and we take close detailed measurements of the habitat, including measurements of temperature. So we know, for example, that the reason pearl-borders like these very open areas is that they require very warm spots in order to leave their eggs. The species really is dependent on having newly disturbed areas where scrub or woodland has been cleared. In the absence of management, ultimately there is no habitat. So in the absence of management, the butterfly would disappear.
We'd like more days like today. I mean, it would be lovely to have students coming out. Oh, there's a pearl border just flying past. We'd love to have the students coming out and them to keep feeding work in. We'd love all these lovely sunny days. We'd like sunny days where it rains at the night as well, so it doesn't get too dry. And just continuing working with the volunteers and all the land managers to provide habitat as best we can for not only the pearl bordered, but a whole range of wildlife benefits from all this sort of work that they're doing on here.
From a scientific point of view, they're a really important indicator species. So if butterflies are doing well, they're a good sort of sign of environmental health, but also they're just fantastic and beautiful, and who can not like butterflies?